Hi everyone, it's Erika with this week's video blog. And I'm here to share one of the biggest stumbling blocks that families come across when they start to apply the conscious parenting approach that I teach in my programs. And so I'm here to talk about it. I'm not going to be able to do it justice because I only have about 4 minutes, and this can take a lot longer to actually really talk about. But I'm going to give you a little bit of food for thought. And that is it's actually not even a parenting strategy that I'm going to talk about. It's actually what I always refer to as a paradigm shift. So that's why it takes a little while for parents to really adjust to it and start to incorporate it and adopt it in their family. So what I'm referring to is the idea that when you're in the circumstance where your child's misbehaving, your number one focus as a conscious parent is to always prioritize your connection and your relationship with your child over correcting any bad behavior. Now, I guarantee you, I know that there's alarm bells going off in your heads right now going, what is she talking about? Ignore the behavior and just be my child's friend. That is not at all what I'm saying. So let me clarify. What I mean by that is that when a child's misbehaving in the moment, there's something going on underneath that misbehavior. They're not trying to be bad kids. They're not trying to be they're not trying to disobey or talk back. It's not what their goal is. But clearly they're in a disconnect at that moment and they're not in a good space. So if we focus on the behavior, let's say it's talking back, in that moment, most parents will say, you know what, I don't like the way you're talking to me. Go to your room, or you're not going to get dessert tonight. You can't talk to me that way. And what does that do? That actually causes a rift in your relationship with your child. Now, in that moment the child's misbehaving, that's actually when they are most needing you as a parent to accept them unconditionally. And let me say that again, because that's so important. When your child is misbehaving is exactly the time where they most need to know that they are okay and they are loved by you. So what does that mean? That means when they're misbehaving, they're talking back, instead of punishing the behavior, what a conscious parent would do is take a step back and realize that something else is going on. Maybe they're feeling disconnected from you. Maybe they're feeling unheard. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're overwhelmed with life and they're taking it out on the people that they love the most. Don't we all do that sometimes? So in that moment, our approach would be more along the lines of, you know what, I don't really like the way you're talking to me right now, but something's going on because this is not your normal awesome self. What's going on? So do you see the difference? Right then, in that moment, when your child most needs you, you are demonstrating your strength and commitment as a parent to be there for them when they're being their worst selves. Because isn't that the definition of unconditional love? And trust me, I'm not at all saying to ignore the behavior and to just let your child continue to behave that way. What I'm saying is, in that moment of upset is the last moment of all times to actually address the behavior. You address it later down the road when your child is calm, you're connected, you're in a quiet moment together. That's where you actually talk about the behavior. And again, age dependent, depending on the age the child is. But the philosophy of it is address the behavior later, but number one, focus on your relationship with your child. So like I said, I realize that's a hard one for people to adopt, because we think in our heads, well, gosh, if I don't address the behavior in the moment, I'm teaching that if I'm giving my child love in the moment they're being the worst, isn't that teaching them just to be worse to me? And the answer is a resounding no. That's not what you're teaching. What you are teaching is that I am here for you no matter what. And my job as your parent is not to punish you and crack the whip every time that you misbehave. My job as your parent is to help guide you through this uncharted territory that you're trying to figure out. And that is how to behave, how to be in social situations, how to accept when we go off the deep end and we're acting out of ego instead of from the heart. So, like I said, there's so much more about this topic, and I'm sure you have many questions, and there's a lot of aspects of this. But I do teach it in my programs and workshops and all that, but in a lot more depth. So I hope that gives you some good food for thought, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments in the space below. Now, in the meantime, until next week, always focus on the good, live from the heart, and always love all over your precious little ones. And abundant gratitude always.